Hello everybody, good evening, welcome to Officers Adda 247. In this particular video, we will be talking about unit number 4th under your target series. So this particular session is for IFS subject wherein we will be discussing the role of MSMEs, along with that the priority sectors in our country. So there are basically 9 priority sectors as being listed by the RBI. How RBI ensures that the creditors, or you can say not the creditors will be ensured with the money, but the lenders, how they must be infusing the funds in the economy, what all numbers they must take into account while lending towards those particular individuals who are having deficit funds. We will be studying under the RBI's master guidelines, which were revised also in March 2025 itself, how we arrive at that number. Then we will be shifting focus towards the MSME sector, the classification of MSME in our country, and two important, I would say, initiatives of government. We will be studying that as well. So let's get started. This particular chapter, if you ask me, then in module A, it is the most important unit of all of the 11 units which are present in module A. This particular unit has the maximum potential that question can be asked directly. So let's start our discussion. What all priority sectors have been identified in our country? So the first one will be agriculture. Okay, agriculture will be starting with agriculture only. After that, you will have MSME, that is micro, small and medium enterprises. Then export credit, social infra, housing and education. Renewable energy is a new entrant thanks to the 2015 MDG expiration and the beginning of the SDGs. India is completely focused towards renewable energy generation. Why? Because we have pledged to go beyond this energy capacity via renewable energy sources. Next, we have others category also and weaker section. In weaker sections, you will find small and marginal farmers, you will find SHGs, JLGs, then you will have certain backward classes also. Along with that, certain you can say segments have been created by the RBI which are not having the funding which they require. And why we are studying the priority sector? Why these sectors are known as priority sector? Government wants the banks to ensure lending towards these sectors because it sees the growth potential in these sectors. So growth potential is there in all these sectors. What they lack in? They lack in funding, which will be ensured by the banks. So RBI directly released the master directions, and the updated one was June 21st, 2024, which has been again revised. This particular, you can say, master direction has been revised in March this year only, that is 2025. Now, how things are moving in this particular RBI master direction? We'll be having different classification based on the type of banks. So first of all, there will be banks, that is domestic commercial banks, excluding RRBs and SFBs. Why we have excluded these two? Because they form the separate category in this classification. Along with the domestic commercial banks, you will be studying the foreign banks with 20 or more branches. Second categorization which RBI made was foreign banks with less than 20 branches, then RRBs and small finance banks. So the category here will be total priority sector. Then we will be having agriculture in the next slide. Along with that, your MSME category plus the advances to weaker section. So total priority sector, when we talk about the obligation for the domestic commercial banks, it will be 40% of the ANBC or CEOBE, whichever is higher. What is this ANBC? Adjusted net bank credit. Credit equivalent of off balance sheet exposure, COBE. So whichever number is higher, that will be earmarked for the total priority sector lending by the domestic commercial banks or foreign banks with more than 20 branches. When we talk about foreign banks with less than 20 branches, they will be having what? 40% of the ANBC or COB, whichever is higher, but one caveat has been added by the RBI, that since you are there with the with less than 20 branches in our country, so your main purpose is the export credit. So you follow your purpose and you can lend up to 32% in export credit segment. But remaining 8% must go towards the remaining 8 priority sectors. Fine. Right now we have seen in the previous slide there are 9 priority sectors, 1 export credit, you have earmarked 32% for that. Remaining 8 priority sectors will be having 8%. Next, RRBs, 75% of ANBC or COB, whichever is higher. Here again, RBI will say to the RRBs that you can lend towards the medium enterprise, social infra and renewable energy up to 15%. In all these 3 sectors, 3 priority sectors, you can lend 15% of your obligation of 75%. The remaining 60%, will go towards the remaining 6 priority sectors, like that. Okay. Finally, small finance banks, they will be having the obligation of 75% of ANBC or COBE, whichever is higher. No specific sub-categorization has been defined. So how you will remember for the exam? 40, 40, 75, 75. That is the basic thing, the minimum criteria which you must remember. After that, 32% in your foreign banks with less than 20 branches, 15% in RRBs, that's a different story altogether, but minimum 40, 40, 75, 75 you must remember. Next is the agriculture. Agriculture, the guidelines were revised, fine. March 2025, you will find that RBI added one specific category in the agriculture PSL category. For the domestic commercial banks with the along with the foreign banks with 20 or more branches, RRBs and small finance banks, the agricultural part will be applicable. But when we talk about foreign banks with less than 20 branches, no applicability will be there, be it the agriculture, micro enterprise or advances to the weaker sections. Here in agriculture, 18% of ANBC or COB, whichever is higher, was earmarked for your domestic commercial banks along with foreign banks with more than 20 branches, and RRBs and SFBs all have the same percentage when it comes to the agricultural priority sector lending. What is the addition in March 2025? The addition is this: out of 18%, the 14% of 18% basically, it will be to focus towards the NCF category, that is non-corporate farmers. Similar for your RRBs and same is for your SFBs. Now out of this 14%, the 10% will be earmarked for your small and marginal farmers. So remember, in agriculture 18% is the overall target. Out of this 18%, 14% is fixed for your non-corporate farmers. Out of the 14%, the 10% will go towards the SMFs, that is small and marginal farmers. Micro enterprises, all the 3 verticals will have 7.5% as the obligation. Advances to weaker section, 12% for your first category, domestic commercial banks and foreign banks with more than 20 branches, 12% for your small finance banks, but there is an increase when we talk about the RRBs. So RRBs have the obligation that they must lend minimum 15% of their ANBC or COB, whichever is higher, under the advances to weaker sections. Fine. So how you will remember all these data points? For total priority sector, 40, 40, 75, 75. For agriculture, 18, 18, 18. Micro enterprise, 7.5, 7.5, 7.5. Advances to weaker section, 12 and 12. But for RRBs, since RRBs directly cater towards the weaker section present in the rural areas, so some more you can say obligation will be there in the form of 15%. Now let's move on to the definitions of MSME. What is the basic definition or basic classification? How we classify MSME in our country? So when we talk about the manufacturing enterprises and enterprises rendering services, these are the two types of enterprises which are being classified as MSMEs based on the respective investment limit as well as the turnover limit. So when I talk about micro, small and medium enterprise, for micro your investment should not be more than 1 crore, for small not more than 10 crore and for medium not more than 50 crore. This particular limit was there from 2020 till March 2025. With effect from 1st April 2025, these limits have been revised. Okay. So investment 1, 10 and 50. Annual turnover, just multiply this by 5. You will get 5 crore. Multiply this by 5, 50 crore. Multiply this by 5, 250 crore. These are the limits which you must remember for your examination. This number we have seen 1, 10 and 50 for the investment. For the turnover, the number stands at 5, 50 and 250. But now the revised one, which are with effect from 1st April 2025. How you will arrive at these particular revised limits? Just multiply the old limits for investment by 2.5. So 2.5 times of the old investment limits will give you the revised investment limits. Similarly, for the turnover, just multiply the old limits with 2 and you will get the revised limits. So in a nutshell, if somebody asks you that a particular enterprise will be categorized as the micro enterprise in our country if the investment is not more than dash crore. So it will be 2.5 crore. Small 25 crore investment I am talking about. Medium 125 crore. Turnover 10 CR for your micro. For small it is 100 crore and for medium it is 500 crore. Why government shifted its focus towards changing or increasing these limits? Because of the growth potential which this particular sector holds. Fine. So more the limits, more are the chances that we will have all the enterprises which are having the growth potential into the net, under the net of MSMEs. And why it is important? So that once they are being classified as MSMEs, now the government initiatives will reach or will be redirected towards those particular enterprises. And once they achieve all those benefits, they acquire all those benefits of the government initiatives, they will be in return giving the growth numbers which government wants. Now let's see one by one some important initiatives for your MSMEs, starting off with the microfinance under Mudra Bank. Now when we talk about Mudra Limited or Mudra Bank or Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, these objectives or these characteristics will remain the same. Full form of Mudra, micro units redevelopment, or you can say micro units development and refinance agency. So basically it will be focusing upon the micro units. Fine. Mark this, very, very important. Micro units. Why? Because micro units are having a classification that 2.5 CR, 2.5 CR for your investment and 10 CR for your turnover. So we are under the Mudra Bank targeting these micro enterprises. So the loan limit will be in between these amounts only, way lower than these amounts, I would say. Launched on 8th April 2015, objective to fund the unfunded. In India, maximum you will find micro and small enterprises. I would say more than 97% of MSMEs are micro and small only. Medium enterprises are very less in our country. So we need to fund the unfunded micro enterprises. Initial corpus 20,000 crore, which was given by the government of India towards this particular you can say initiative. Credit guarantee which is provided by the government, it was of the amount 3,000 crore. Now whether Mudra Bank is able to do what it was supposed to do, or whether we have achieved the objective which we wanted to achieve via the Mudra Bank. So it has played a pivotal role in empowering the non-corporate, non-farm, small and micro enterprises by providing the loans up to rupees 20 lakh. So you can see that government is very serious about this NCF category, non-corporate farmers category. That is why in the revised RBI master guidelines also you will find a specific category under the agriculture priority sector lending, 14%. We have just seen na 14% for the NCF category. Okay. So Mudra Bank or Mudra Yojana, when it was first launched, initially launched, it was for the maximum loan limit was 10 lakh. But last year only in 2024, the government revised the limit. It increased the limit to 20 lakh again because it saw the potential in these particular enterprises. What is the repayment period? When we talk about the repayment period for the term loan or the demand loan, maximum repayment period would be 7 years, or as we call it in banking parlance, that is 84 months. Working capital for 12 months subject to annual review. Now review process is very stringent when we talk about the MSME loans, and there is no doubt that under Mudra Bank scheme or PMEGP scheme, these particular loans will be under the review system for a longer period of time, because 7 years is the maximum period. Na? Nil charges are there when we talk about any service charges there or not, inspection charges are there or not, or for that matter any guarantee fees is there or not. So right now it has nil charges. OD facility, is it available? Yes. What is the amount? Up to 10,000. Now when we talk about the Mudra loan categories, initially there were 3 categories only: Shishu, Kishore and Tarun. This category Tarun Plus has been added in 2024. So these categories tell you that up to which amount of loan you can give under various domains. So Shishu category covering the loans up to 50,000, 50,000 till 5 lakh, your Kishore category, Tarun 5 lakh and till 10 lakh. When we talk about Tarun Plus, 10 lakh till 20 lakh will be covered under this particular category. Various categories will be having different characteristics, which is not a part of our syllabus. We need to know all the 4 categories, that's it. Next is your Udyami Mitra portal under the MSME initiatives taken up by the Government of India. It was launched in December 2017 under the regulations of SFURTI, not RBI, I was about to say RBI, regulation of SFURTI. Now you will find n number of schemes related to MSMEs which are being governed or regulated by SFURTI. Why is it so? Because it is the Small Industries Development Bank, and earlier the small scale industries were there in our country. Later on the MSME category came into picture. So anyone who wants to start their own business but is afraid of all the expenditure cost can quickly get the financial help as well as the expert guidance. So once you log in to this portal, that is Udyami Mitra, you will find separate ecosystem for the financial help as well as the expert guidance. This screenshot has been taken from the website only, where you can see the knowledge center, SIDBI ecosystem, various schemes are already listed on this particular portal. So if you are a newcomer or you are having no past history of retaining the profits of your business, how you will make a business profitable, then definitely Udyami Mitra portal will help you. If you are falling under the category of MSMEs, if you need the credit for the business expansion, then again Udyami Mitra portal will help you out. What is the address? It is www.udyamimitra.in. Who can apply? Or any individual who wants to kickstart his business, his or her business, or already owns one but comes under the MSMEs. Next important scheme is Pradhan Mantri or Prime Minister Employment Generation Program, that is PMEGP. A very old scheme being implemented by Khadi Village Industries Commission, and you being bankers, you must be knowing about this scheme. Why I am saying this? Because when it was launched way back in 2008, banks were given targets that you must achieve these much targets, 2 loan, 3 loans on daily or weekly basis under PMEGP scheme. So the government of India approved the introduction of credit linked subsidy. Government will be providing the subsidies if you are availing the loan under this particular scheme, and the year of genesis was 2008. Collateral free loan up to 10 lakh is the limit for your loan. When we talk about the maximum cost of project, it is divided into 2 parts. One, your manufacturing sector, another one your services sector. The maximum limit for the manufacturing sector under this particular scheme is 50 lakh. This is the maximum limit, maximum loan limit which you can avail under the PMEGP scheme. But when we talk about the services sector, it is 20 lakh. These numbers are highly important. Even if these limits are not being asked in the exam, they are highly relevant for you guys being a banker. To generate the employment opportunities in rural as well as urban areas of the country, while setting up the new self-employment ventures, projects or micro enterprises. That is the basic aim, to generate the employment. Now when we talk about the implementing agency, it is KVIC. Already we have discussed that. What is the age limit here? Is there any age criteria? So above 18 should be the age of all those individuals who want to avail the benefits of this program. When we talk about the educational qualification, whether there is certain educational qualification required to avail this benefit or not, answer is yes, but for a specific limit. If you want to avail the loan beyond 10 lakh, fine, because your project is having the amount of, let's suppose 15 lakh in the manufacturing sector. So beyond 10 lakh in manufacturing sector, and if the project cost is beyond 5 lakh in the business or services sector, then you must fulfill the educational qualification of passing the 8th standard. So 8th standard you must have completed, passed in that. Only then your project cost, if it is beyond 10 lakh in manufacturing sector and beyond 5 lakh in services sector, then you can have the loan under the PMEGP scheme, otherwise not. Next scheme is SFURTI scheme. When we talk about scheme of fund for regeneration of traditional industries, simply you need to remember 2 keywords. One, we will be targeting the traditional industries. What are traditional industries? The old industries, old methods are employed in those industries, be it the small scale industries of post independence era, or for that matter the tiny industries, plus the cottage industries which are prevalent in various parts of our country. Next, the second keyword which you must remember is the cluster. So the cluster based approach is USP of this particular scheme, clusters. So what government will do here via district administration? Supposingly there is a village V, they will identify 3 or 4 regions in this village V and make various clusters, cluster 1, cluster 2, cluster 3, cluster 4, based on the occupation of the people who are residing in these regions or clusters. Now the government will infuse competition by giving the targets, specific targets to these clusters, that C1 will have the target of making 250 units, C2 300 units, C4 500 units, C3 100 units. And once they will achieve those targets, it will imbibe the feeling of competition in all of them, ultimately leading to the profitability of their business. Yes or no? So that is the main agenda or the crux of cluster based approach in the SFURTI scheme. Who is the nodal agency? Again, KVIC, Khadi Village Industries Commission, and there are majorly 2 clusters, one regular cluster and another one is the major cluster, depending upon the number of artisans involved. So if the artisans are within 500, then we will say the cluster will be termed as regular cluster, and the government will be providing you assistance up to 2.5 CR under this regular cluster. For major cluster, the requirement is that the number of artisans involved in those clusters must be 500, beyond 500 in fact, and the government will support you up to a quantum of 5 CR. That is the government's support. 2.5 CR for the regular cluster, for the major cluster it is 5 CR. Okay. So I hope that you learnt something new via this particular session. As I was telling you earlier also, that unit number 4th is the most important unit in the module A. These are certain important schemes for your unit number 4, but whether these are the only schemes? No. There are n number of initiatives which you must study in unit number 4, and specifically in your book very small description of all these initiatives is there, but you have to refer to various sources if you want to be in a zone where you have completed the preparation on your own. For comprehensive preparation, you have to refer to various materials, be it the official website of KVIC, official website of Ministry of MSME, official website of Government of India in the planning part. So all these things you have to do on your own. But if you want to join one particular program which is structured according to the need of this examination, then I would highly recommend you to join the success batch for JAIIB November 2025 aspirants. Why? Because in this particular batch you will be getting all the material under one hood. So you will be getting the interactive live sessions, the recordings of those live sessions will be available to you. If you miss 1 or 2 lectures, you can just see those recordings. If you have any doubt, you can ask in the next lecture or in that particular lecture only if you are attending live. You will be having the access to mock test, chapter wise, unit wise tests will be there. Plus, if you have completed the live sessions, you have completed the PDFs which we are providing you in each live session, you have attempted the mock tests also, then you can have an overview of these ebooks which are also available in this particular course. The ebooks will serve as the additional reference material. If you want to study more, if you enjoy reading, then definitely you must focus there. So all in all, if you want the success in your JAIIB November 2025 exam, this is the course which will ensure that your selection chances, your qualification chances will multifold. Fine. So on that note, let's conclude the session. If you have any doubt, do let me know in the comment section. We'll meet in the next session. Till then, goodbye. Take care.